Joining us now is OjyOkpe with stories trending around the world.
You are doing well. You are doing very well. How are you, Rufai?
Well
we miss you, Dr. Abati.
Yeah, get well
Rufi, thank you very much for honoring my dad yesterday. You are an excellent friend. Thank you. Ayomide, you know I'm throwing you under the bus, of course. I'm just kidding. How are you, darling?
Very well, thank you.
Good morning. How are you this morning, Dr. Abati? We are missing you.
Yes,
but we had a great...
When the Tatita guy said...
Which one?
He was talking to about women.
Right.
Yeah, Dr. Abati is the expert.
Oh, you mean your guest
Don't say that. Don't say that. You know, there's something called the cornucopia of marriage.
I'm sure, but we all had a great weekend, you know, because obviously the chairman and editor-in-chief of this day Arise Media Group, Prince Nduka Bena, was honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award at the 32nd Dame Award ceremony held in Lagos on Sunday. He was honored owing to his contributions to the development of the media landscape and free expression in the country. I mean, congratulations to the Duke of Owa Kingdom. He's an absolute game changer. He has done it all. He's, like he said in that video we watched earlier, he said, you know, he started as a cartoonist, and, you know, I met Nduka Bena as a model. I mean, he has been doing very well with the Arise Fashion Week. I mean, that was 20 years ago or even more. I mean, congratulations to the Duke. He deserves all the honors.
In fashion, in tech.
Yes, and he's also, you know, started with the Arise. He's done the Arise Play. This is the new thing now, Arise Play. Everyone tune into Arise Play
everywhere.
Because obviously that's the new
that's the
TV.
future.
That's the future right now. Well, all right. Let's begin what's trending then. Over the weekend, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, along with other politicians and senators, congratulated Senate President Godswill Akpabio, who marked his 61st birthday in grand style at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital. In a now viral video, the Senate President was seen arriving at the 30,000 capacity stadium and was received by over 100 senators, including the First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, state governors and their wives, and thousands of well-wishers. Well, let's take a look. Well, all right, Rufai, all I heard you say was, nah, What a wahoo, wouldn't you say? But a lot of Nigerians, yes. Well, let's take one reaction, just one, and then I'll come to you, Rufai. This person wrote, our politicians are the most insensitive people on planet Earth. They exploit the benignity of Nigerians to do as they like. Imagine your Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, celebrating his 61st birthday party so extravagantly in the midst of an unprecedented despondency of citizens that private jets have been provided to fly guests to and fro Uyo from Abuja to Lagos. One would have expected a low-key celebration and even a selfless advice to invitees to donate to a particular charity of his choice instead of this unnecessary jamboree. After all, it is not a landmark anniversary. Welcome to APC's Nigeria, where anyhowness reigns. I mean, this guy says anyhowness reigns. Over to you, Rufai. I know you are in shock. I know you're in shock.
Oji, I'm in shock. Yeah. You see my first reaction when I saw it? New song.
Interpret.
It's like a saying that an elderly person owes a debt. Who is going to pay it? What kind of country have we become, Oji? And you talk, they say you're emotional, you're sensitive. For a 61st birthday, not a milestone year. Even if it's a milestone year, a country where over 100 million people live in multidimensional poverty. CBN has just said now to import now, the dollar equivalent is 952. What it means that cost of car has gone up. You remember the Fela song of a Nigerian saving money to be able to buy this ceiling fan, and the price keeps going on because of inflation. Nigerians are there today at a time where there's a lot of pain, killings all over the country. Anyway, kudos to the senators for putting their December salary towards that in Kaduna. But at a time where there's a lot of suffering and avarice, then you are running around the stadium and you've packed people full. The Senate president should please tell Nigeria how much that birthday party cost him. This is the same Senate president that was former minister of Niger Delta, that under him we had a fainting spell of Professor Ponde. Until date, they've not been able to tell us what happened in the Niger Delta ministry. He should please tell us how much he spent for the logistics of bringing those thousands of people in the stadium and how much they were paid. There are many things we need to learn. This is way too extravagant.
Yeah.
And people that advised him on this advised him wrongly. I had to call somebody in the state. They said, he wanted to come and show it and assert himself politically.
Oh, to assert himself politically?
Yes.
I thought it was to share his
No, there was a political implication to it.
To assert
that he was to
himself.
assert himself. That's why he should tell us. Is he preparing for 2027 or after that? Well, because you see, when we see politicians run, you remember the case of Amechi and his declaration. That was why he packed out the stadium. At the time, people, they should tell us what is going on. At first, it was COP. Now it's the Akpabio Gates.
Akpabio Gates. I like that. Well, you know, the optics look really bad. Ayo, it looks really bad. But some people have said, you know, there will be donations from his friends, senators. But I mean, like that Twitter user said, why can't the donations go to something more meaningful? But before I take your comment, in the meantime, like you said, Rufai, all 109 senators are said to have donated their December salaries amounting to 109 million naira to the victims of the drone bombing in Kaduna State. Deputy President of the Senate, Baru Jibrin, led a high-power delegation to the state where he made the announcement. The senators were received by the state governor, Uba Sani, who thanked them for their donations. I mean, this is a worthy cause. I mean, This is a worthy donation. Yes, kudos to the senators. I was hoping that, you know, more of this would be, I mean, that money that was probably donated to Akpabio's party could have been even added to this. Go ahead.
Okay, so first of all, let me start with the happy birthday, Senator Akpabio. It was his 61st birthday, and of course, the first thing that came to mind as well was it wasn't a landmark. However, landmark depends on your perspective. For him, this was his first birthday post being Senate President of Nigeria, so he had to declare and show. The second thing is what you know where we ended on with regards to the fact that it was also could be tagged as a homecoming for him. With regards to going back home to Akwa Ibom, you know, in the last administration, there were stories around the scuffle or not just being in good terms with the previous administration and the current one. Well, I don't know what their relationship is, but this was asserting himself as having weight with his people, political and otherwise, because you would see that it was a stadium packed full of people. I don't know if he knows all the people there who came to celebrate his birthday with him, but he was asserting himself. There were underlying themes to that celebration. A man of the people, a man loved by his people, a man who still has political clout and strength in Akwa Ibom State. Very, 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 very strategic. And don't forget, currently, the PDP has a stronghold in Akwa Ibom State, and this is an APC government. So it was a show of the fact that he had come, and in fact, that song was very apt. Now we day here, they were asserting themselves. But beyond that is that, to be fair to him, it's a private celebration in terms of a birthday. If the money was not state-funded, then he has a right to do whatever he likes with his personal funds.
But he's the Senate president. And
yes,
we're talking about the optics.
No, I'll come to that. I'm just trying to balance it that it's his birthday party. As long as the money was not state funded, and if he decides to throw a party for 7 days with his money, but then
as a Senate president,
wait, hold on.
Okay.
But then what that then speaks to the way you decide to spend your money in light of the current economic realities for people is an indication of your character.
That's the point.
So I had to put that thought there that it is his personal funds. However, being a public servant,
that is it.
More is expected of him, because to whom much is given, much is expected. And so, despite the fact that he could argue that he has a right to spend his birthday and his personal funds whichever way he likes, you would then also ask the question as to how in touch with reality are our leaders. And I keep talking about this, that it almost feels as if, and it seems like it's okay for there to be such a lavish display of wealth when a lot of people are languishing in penury. If you look at the status of his people in Akwa Ibom State, how many people can afford 3 square meals? How many people can afford to send their children to school? How many people can afford the inflated transportation costs as a result of policies by this government that he's in? Also, optics don't look too good as well when, the wife of the president was there, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, who's been a bit quiet. And she praised him, looked at his antecedents in government. It does, because we keep talking about this is a rubber stamp assembly. When there's such a chummy relationship between the executive and the legislature, it raises eyebrows. Yes, you might say that they are personal friends, they can choose their friends however they like, but it raises eyebrows. It does raise eyebrows, and then you begin to wonder if truly he can be independent and fair in terms of checking the executive. Finally, coming back down to the 109 million naira donated. And by the way, COP28 just happened. All the private jets that were flying, I hope they know that carbon emission is real. So this justifies the fact that we were sending troops of people to COP28 to discuss, the environment and climate change. But the policies and our actions here do not support the claim that we are so passionate about climate change. Just wanted to mention that. And then kudos to the senators. I think it's a really good move. And where they do well, we must praise them.
Absolutely.
But people are saying, how it is when you're like Oliver Twist. It's 1 million. It's the allowances we're looking for. It's not the salary we want.
Come on.
Well, just to say well done to them.
December is a tough period, guys. December is a tough period,
your question,
really.
please. The Senate president should answer. Why wasn't he this elaborate in celebrating his 60th birthday when he was just a man?
Question and answer.
Why
Very
is it
interesting
now
question
that he's
and answer.
Senate president? And they should tell us, I'm really serious about this now, how much of state funds and personal funds and donations went into this for public accountability. He is the Senate president. The president, the vice president, the Senate president.
I kept on reiterating that point.
So they should tell us how much of public funds
absolutely
went into this.
Well, all right. Well said, guys. Well, in another development, following reports of at least 5 multinational companies, including Procter Gamble, Unilever and GSK PLC winding down operations in Nigeria over challenges in ease of doing business, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in a statement last week, assured other multinational companies that his administration is determined to remove all bottlenecks to the smooth running of their businesses. The president made the statement while receiving a delegation of the management of Shell Group, stating that his administration is very focused in resolving all investment-related issues and is determined towards making Nigeria the African haven for land-scale investment in all key sectors. Well, this is coming as the Bishop of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka, over the weekend advised young Nigerians wishing to leave the country not to hesitate to do so. The bishop made the call while addressing graduates of Veritas University. Well, let's take a listen before we come back for a discussion.
Remember that you could have been born anywhere. It's not an accident that you are in Nigeria. You heard Dr. Adesina say what he had to say about those of us who are anxious to leave Nigeria. I encourage young people who want to leave Nigeria, please feel free to leave. The country is big enough, but we can assure you now, by the time you settle down in the United States of America or wherever you've gone to, you will discover that Nigeria really needs you, but that those you've left behind, our hope and prayer is that they will be competing at the same level with you, because we've got everything that it takes, to turn the corner.
Well, all right. Amplifying the Jackpot syndrome here, Rufai. People encourage emigration, Rufai. I mean, he's not the first person to do so, but I think you have...
So emigration is not the problem.
Yes.
From way back, Nigerians have always gone abroad to study. In fact, I think one of the first Nigerians that really studied abroad, if my memory of history serves me right, I think it's Don Domingo that had a relationship, with the Warri Kingdom and studied in Portugal many years ago. All right, that was the 1600s. It's not now. All the likes of, the key leaders across the African continent, Nnamdi Azikiwe, in fact, he went abroad to study as a stowaway. What we are complaining about, so people going abroad to study is not a problem. What we are complaining about is the proliferation, the increase in the number. And the increase in the number is occasioned by economic circumstances.
But I don't think he's just talking about studying. He's talking about emigration in general,
yes,
for living abroad, just leaving the country
that's the real
due to
context in
diaspora.
society.
Yeah.
There was a time
That's the context.
Nigerians went abroad to study in the 70s, but guess what? They were so proud to come back to Nigeria to add to Nigeria. Most of the Nigerians that went to stay abroad in the 70s to study and the 80s, they were proud to come back because things were a lot better. But the problem is, as Nigerians are going abroad today, are they planning to come back? No, because things are not a whole lot better. So how can we fix the economic malaise? And you see, there's a good correlation with Nigeria and Argentina. Look at what Mile was saying. I mean, a pensioner in Argentina was saying that a lot of the young people are going. So emigration is not a bad thing. But the question is, what is inducing the emigration? Is it economic circumstances? Yes, and we know it's at an all-time low. Over 1,000 naira now to the dollar in the country. A lot of problems, insecurity and all of them. So it's incumbent on the government to be able to fix it. And like you said, yes, if you want to go, you can go.
Yeah, tying it to my first story,
and also come back to be able to develop it. But part of the reason why people are going is also because of the economic malaise and the problems on the ground. Take, for instance, a country that people can barely afford water to drink, food to eat. You are having the Senate president of that country packing full a stadium to celebrate a 61st birthday. Then people are beginning to look and say, what's going on here?
Yeah, absolutely.
You will have thought that there should be a certain level of sensitivity.
We had the discussion of these pharmaceutical companies leaving the country.
That one is another, and it's a very good conversation. Yeah. Let me broach our conversation because, you see, I see a lot of spin doctors trying to spin narrative. Some people even brought up some new company that set up $50 million facility. We welcome every form of investment. Pocari Sweat or thereabout. But when you have big giants like P&G and the likes leaving, then as a country, you should look inward and know that there's a problem. Because you see, your consumer goods sector is the bellwether for any economy if it's doing well or not. The companies that are leaving were companies that are invested heavily. Look at PZ, for instance. PZ had been here before Nigeria was formed. Had been trading across the West African coast 1899 thereabouts. Nigeria came into being after the amalgamation in 1914 of the Northern and Southern Protectorate and Lagos Colony. They've been here. But now they are leaving because of the problems of the economy. And everybody keeps talking about one thing, Forex and other challenges. Look at GSK. These were companies that are not quite long. I mean, I think PZ invested close to $300 million in a plant. It never took up because of the economic malaise, because of Forex problems. So when you are having those things, and that's why it's best for President Tinubu to also look at how to keep the internal investors that are here. Because you see, the foreign investors you are going to talk to are looking at their numbers and they know more than you. Don't be delusional. They are asking, what are the factors? What is making GSK leave? Can we survive? So those are the things, and that's why people are leaving. Look at when Dunlop and Michelin left. Till today, Nigeria has not recovered from it. That's why we now buy substandard, fairly used tires. When Michelin left, the Port Harcourt factory, you know how many jobs were lost? Thousands of jobs. So just even look at us in the television sector. Till today, you don't see Dunlop advertisement on TV again, Michelin. If for what is what, even if it's 5 or 10 million naira.
That's true.
We will have been gaining from that money. So
I remember
all
the
of these
Dunlop
people,
ads on those days.
Dunlop Elite Tubeless na baba. Dunlop Elite Tubeless na baba.
Yes, I remember those.
Everybody is losing in the economy, and that's why people are leaving.
Right. Well, Ayo, it's good that the president has assured multinationals, but you know, it's about, assuring is great. What are the steps gaps at this point?
I think we should actually ban the word ashwa. I assure you, I think it's traumatic. It is a PTSD from that word. But, going on to, absolutely, the president is the chief image officer of Nigeria. He's the chief investment officer of Nigeria. He's our first spokesperson, and so he ought to be saying these things. But like you mentioned, Oji, talk is cheap. The most important thing is the actions. And unfortunately, despite, like you mentioned, Rufai, spinning and trying to position rightly, if you don't take the necessary steps required to keep those companies, you will not attract foreign investment. We've talked about the issues of security. They are clear. Many people have written articles about this. A lot of economists have talked about the importance. We have to look at security, talk about tax rates. We looked at a number of issues, ease of doing business in Nigeria, corruption, levels of corruption, just so many areas. And it almost seems to anyone looking at it, these are quick wins, and any government who has the political will can actually sort the problem. But it doesn't seem as if anyone has done that so far. In the last few years, very sad, the loss of income, investment, the jobs for our young people and even older people who lose jobs, who lose opportunities as a result of these companies leaving, and a lack of, attraction of foreign investment. And beyond that, I wanted to talk about the Jackpot syndrome. What Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka said, he's never shy away. He's never shy from speaking, making controversial statements. However, one area we don't look at is the cost of jackpots in the Nigerian economy. Beyond the economy, is even looking at family life. The number of families have disintegrated as a result of long-distance living. And actually, if you interview a number of Nigerians who are currently abroad, many of them will tell you they'd rather be home. Many of them are suffering from depression. Many of them health conditions. But they won't say these things. The only pictures they post are pictures in the snow, but they are working, menial jobs that are beneath them. Whereas, because no matter where you go, home is best. So the call should be to our leaders to make our nation good enough for us not to migrate, not by choice, but by necessity. A lot of them is not by choice. It's not what you're describing that happened in the 70s with people are. It is out of necessity, and if you give them an option, they won't go. We're losing our best brains. We're losing family life. We're losing cousins don't know themselves anymore because one family, one daughter is here, one child is in Canada, the other is in Ireland, even in Kuwait, anywhere but Nigeria. We need to talk about these issues. It's really affecting our generation. I hope that, like he mentioned, they will come back someday and Nigeria will be better off.
Well said, Ayo. Well, all right, we'll take our final story. Following the first shipment of 1 million barrels of crude to the Dangote Refinery, billionaire businessman Femi Otedola took to social media to congratulate his friend, Aliko Dangote. In a post on X, the billionaire said that the Dangote Refinery is a testament to visionary leadership and relentless pursuit of excellence. He also described it as the 8th wonder of the world, with this video rendition of Ain't No Stopping Us Now.
There's been so many things that's held us down.
Me too, I'll have a good friend, though. Fantastic optics, really, bestie. I mean, obviously, like we have said, the Dangote Refinery right now is, set to start full production. Complete game changer. Congratulations to Alhaji Aliko Dangote, but I loved that video. That video went viral, and the music was completely apt at this point, really quickly.
Very apt, been a long time coming. We want the best for our country. It's the things we're excited about. We can't wait to buy the first oil, first petrol, first product.
Absolutely.
So we just want things to be well in this country.
Absolutely.
In all of it, we want to come here and brag about our country.
Yes.
We want to be proud of our country. When we see good things, when we see things that are not good, we also say it not because we don't want the best for our country.
Absolutely.
We love our country so much, and that's why we're here.
Right.
And the truth has to be said. I feel and I know and I believe deep in my heart, this country has the capacity to be a world power.
Absolutely.
But one thing it has lacked, Oji, is Good leadership, good
Right.
head at the top.
Right, we have to have good leadership, but also the private sector is doing well, just like the Dangote, which has now been named the 8th wonder of the world. But I'd like to thank you both for your great analysis on what's trending. Well, that's all I have for you on what's trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.